This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, here on November the 28th, 2021. Good thing 2 days ago I put my snow tires on because we finally got a snowfall here, and not a big fan of winter driving, but you gotta make do here. But folks, I have a wonderful guest on the show with me today who I had met back in it was the Silver Wave Film Festival here in Fredericton back in I'm gonna say 2010 or 2011. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but a film called Plaster Rock was shot here, and the gorgeous Jessica Holt was in it, and it had Jason Nicholson was in it, and various other people. And the director of the film was here that year. And it's interesting because the director of the film was also in a movie that's celebrating its 45th anniversary that we're going to be talking about in a little more detail here today, amongst other things. Folks, I give you the wonderful Jackie Giroux. How do you do, Jackie?
Hello, hello. 45 years ago, yeah, I was being babysat, right? The one in the carriage. No, no. I'm the ingenue that ran around screaming. Every scene was like a head would roll off of a car or somebody get killed in the car. My big thing was,
There you go. You definitely did some heavy screaming at the end of it, that's for sure.
yes, I did. Yeah, I do remember that.
I'm
Hmm.
surprised people were showing up at the drive-in in this movie after all that.
Did you find it scary or was it funnier? To
I
you,
don't
I mean,
I
because,
don't get scared by a lot now, but
yeah, yeah,
I'll be quite frank. I was in Sunrise Video here in the Regent Mall, and I just
yeah.
kind of browsing through. I don't think I was looking for anything in particular, but I just kind of looking, and I saw Drive-In Massacre, and I just kind
Right.
of picked it up
Hmm.
because uh, I had an uncle when I was young, when in my younger years, who had a video store back in the 80s. And this kind of put me in mind of some of the stuff I would have seen there, and
Mhm.
anyway, I took a chance on this and just bought it because it was like, well, I'm not set up here to watch stuff. I just watch my Blu-rays and my television.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yep,
How much was it?
I don't remember, but
Typical producer, right? How much did you spend? Yeah, I'm wondering.
but I grabbed it, and I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, we haven't had drive-ins here in Fredericton since the mid 80s,
Yeah,
and this kind of took me back quite a bit to
sure.
when we did have drive-ins.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I was quite happy with this movie. I've had John F. Golth on here,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
I had Norman Sheridan on here. I became his first Zoom. He actually got the stuff to set up for Zoom that day. So
Wow,
John had set me
wow.
up with him, and now we have you on here.
Yeah, yeah. I love Zoom, and I really enjoy watching. I should see if I can't find that because I never saw it for some reason. Stu, I did a few movies for Stu Siegel.
Hmm.
I don't know if he wrote it or he just directed. I think maybe John Goff might have written it. I don't know. John does a lot of writing. He wrote a couple of movies for me, Distortions and Deadly Intent. But Stu always had screenings, and I'm not sure why he didn't have a screening for this movie, or maybe he just didn't invite me.
Maybe you figured you'd
That's
go
Stu.
scream.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I think I told you before that I got really ill. I want to get this right. Like in 19 I don't know what it was, 1983 three, maybe. And I got really sick. I did a movie in Costa Rica called Sweet Sugar, and I got dehydrated, which I didn't know. And so I had my right kidney taken out. And yeah, I was at Leahy Clinic. I had 4 operations. And Stu Siegel was the only one who called me up to find out what was going on. And I had made like 7 movies that year. He was the only one. And I was on the cover of New York Magazine
Hmm.
saying last of a dying species. And here I was hooked up to IVs dying. And my headshot was on there. But he called. He's a fabulous guy. And he really is very loyal to the people that he works with. And he had me in for a couple of Hunters. He was a producer on Hunter for Stephen Cannell and a few other shows too, I believe. And he always had me come in and read. And he's a great guy. So I'm very happy. I want to tell you something.
Hmm.
I got $50 a day for doing that movie.
Sweet Sugar,
No, Drive-In Massacre.
Drive-In Massacre. Wow.
I think I got $100 a day for Sweet Sugar. I don't remember. I was in Costa Rica, so
Sweet Sugar came out the year I was born,
well, it must have been a great
1972.
year.
Yeah. Well, I know you had
Yeah,
said you got some Bloody Marys there.
I do. But
Yeah.
to celebrate the movie.
Let's celebrate the movie. I can't, of course,
Hey, I got
I
two
just got
glasses
waters, but
here.
yeah,
I got vodka somewhere. Oh, here it is. Seagrams. I don't even know how you do this. You just pour it in, right? And then you mix it.
sure.
Who cares? Hey, we'll get smashed. What do we care? Anyway, one for you, and I'll have to. I have the bad job of drinking yours as well as mine.
There
Okay,
you
cool. I
go.
think that's too much vodka, huh? I don't know. By the end of this show, you'll know everything about me.
That's the plan.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, but Drive-In Massacre was a lot of fun. Simi Valley, driving there, because we had to shoot at night all night when it was closed.
Hmm.
And it was like, oh, and then of course afterwards, I mean, we shot some long nights, and
Yep.
afterwards, that was incredible because then you can't sleep during the day, or at least I can't. So by the end of the shoot, I was like, out of my mind. But fun times, fun times.
Yeah, I had John Goff on here, and
What did he say?
we both talked about the fact that after he did that scene where he was in drag,
Hmm.
we both agreed Playboy should have had him on the cover. Don't you
I
agree?
I agree. He looked ravishing. He looked ravishing. Yeah, Playboy. Yeah, they really missed their mark on with him, didn't they? Maybe it's not
Oh,
too late to go back. I don't know. Hugh Hefner's already in his grave. It'll probably bring him back. He sees John on the cover, you know.
there you
Yes. Well,
go.
here's to you, Greg. Thank you for contacting
Yes,
me.
absolutely. Actually, it was interesting because when I discovered you were in this movie, I was like, Jackie Giroux, I know that name. You
Mm-hmm.
were here for Plaster Rock. And I was like,
I
what a
was.
small world, you know? What a,
I did 4 movies in New Brunswick.
oh,
I
did
did,
you?
yeah, I did Blue Seduction with Billy Zane. I didn't
Okay.
direct it, I wrote and produced it. And Estella Warren was in that. She's Canadian.
Okay.
And then I did it was retitled Hostage Games with Corey Haim's
Yeah,
last film.
I remember that I saw that at Silverwave as
Yeah.
well. Yep.
Yeah. And so, and his untimely death was devastating. I mean,
Yep.
just way too young, too young. Then I did Plaster Rock, and then I did The Night. I wrote and produced The Night up there too. So,
Not familiar with that one.
yeah, well, you probably a good idea. You're not.
Oh, really?
It's not. Yeah. Anyway, let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But you probably knew Lex Gigeroff. Did you know Lex? He was an actor, a very good actor. He lived in Fredericton, and he wrote a movie script that I assisted him with while we were doing the night. And then we set it up with Ghislaine Levy, another untimely death, and
Mhm.
to shoot it in Dominican Republic. And Lex went down. I had Donald Sutherland in the movie. It was never shot because Lex died. He
Oh,
came back the week of Christmas, if you can believe this. He was a young guy, he was like 50. And he came back from the Dominican. We all met up in the Dominican and we were going to shoot there. We had it all arranged. And he came back and he was preparing the turkey. He took a glass of red wine, lay down, and never got up. And and you asked me why I don't come back to New Brunswick. This is one of the reasons why. He was given $50,000 advance by Ghislaine, and we had the co-production between New Brunswick and the Dominican. I've made 2 movies in the Dominican, by the
mhm.
way. And so I wanted to continue the movie. Mitch Guittard was going to take over the Canadian portion, and Lex's son and daughter wouldn't let us continue. And this is what I mean about the business. Everybody, it looks so easy. You know, when you're making one movie after another, people say, I can do that. No, you can't. And so what happened is that they took over the movie because there was no will by Lex. He was 50. And so the whole thing fell apart, never made to this day. Wonderful screenplay. You can imagine Donald Sutherland is not that easy to get. I mean, he
Nope,
really isn't.
nope.
He's a class A act, you know, and he was going to be the male, one of the male stars, you know, and then Catherine Deneuve was going to play the
Oh,
female.
love Catherine.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had a deal with Wild Bunch, the French company, because you have to have French stars and you have to release the movie in France theatrically before the United States or anywhere. And we had it all lined up. And then he died suddenly, and his kids, and I begged the daughter, I don't recall her name, but I said, you know, you will never get this movie made. I mean, I helped him write it. And she said, well, my brother told me we can do it. Hmm. Well, where are you, movie?
Yeah.
You're definitely not on my resume. So anyway, and so I learned early on. I've had a lot of good times in New Brunswick. I am not going to lie to you. I was treated like a queen there. I did the 4 movies there. No problem. Billy Zane was my biggest problem because he wanted me to go out every night, and I couldn't do that and produce the movie. So, but the bottom line of this is I had a great times, but then I had horrific times because at the end of my regime, let's call it, the unions were all over me. They wanted me to sign union deals and take money out of everybody's paycheck. I'm talking about the crew. And I said, I'm not doing that. And they just said, you know, bad things about me. I did a TV show and said I'll never go union. And they jumped on me at the Toronto Film Festival for that. Just a lot of bad blood for a lot of different things. And I was actually, you know, kind of pushed out of Canada. So I had a New Brunswick, sadly, because I was the only one doing features and getting them released with stars, you know, stars television and cable, and actually theatrically with Corey's movie, and then they just pushed me out. Like,
You know what? I got a story there because I have a big problem myself with New Brunswick and film.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
mhm.
I am a co-producer on a movie that just got released the end of October called 13 Fanboy.
Oh,
It is it is a movie based around the Friday the 13th franchise.
Mhm.
It's directed by a woman who was in the 5th movie. And because the franchise was going through a lawsuit at the time. So this
Oh,
one's about a crazed fan going after alumni from the franchise.
oh,
And I get on board on the Indiegogo, and I get a co-producer credit.
mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
and anyway, it's got a great cast in it. You mentioned Corey Haim. This one had Corey Feldman.
Oh, yeah.
Dee Wallace was the star
Wonderful
in it.
actress.
Love Dee. Yep. I had her on here just recently, and I had a variety of people in it. And I'm trying to think if I have the. There we go. I got the tote bag for it.
Oh, look at you, look at yeah, nice.
Yep.
Oh, look at those faces.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
13. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yep.
Wow.
So I asked the head of the film company here. I won't mention names because I don't want to
No, no,
put anybody on
no, no.
blast, but it's
Yeah.
one you associated with here.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, could we play 13 Fanboy at the local film festival? Because I mean, I just gave the Friday the 13th franchise, which is a big franchise in horror, a New
Yes.
Brunswick connection.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I did. And I got asked if I was starring in it. And I said, well, with the exception of the James Balsamo movies, I'm not an actor, but James Balsamo, I mean, I don't have to
Yeah.
be a good actor because his films have that kind of campy feel. But
Ah,
anyway, yeah. So what they asked if I was starring in it. Well, when Joe Medjuck was here, he wasn't starring in Ghostbusters.
no.
No. So I felt like I was just being brushed off, unimportant. So I was like, you know what? That kind of severed my ties with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I
So,
understand.
yep,
Yeah.
I was like, they want people to pay for a VIP to go to the film festival to
Correct.
meet people that they could meet for free at the mall. And
Yeah.
it's just not going to work with me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was invited in 2017. That was I was invited by Lisa Langlois, who was in the movie Class of 1984.
Correct. Yeah.
She invited me to assist her at Horrorama in Toronto. And here I was, now 49. At the time I had never ever ever traveled.
Mm.
Never been on a plane.
Wow.
I would get homesick just going to Moncton or St. John. And I had a choice. I
Oh,
could go to the film festival and be pissed off because they weren't willing to move ahead, or I could go risk my homesickness, go and actually go on the invite of an actress I liked from a movie I liked
hmm
and
hmm
expand my brand. Well, I went to Toronto. I had a
good,
blast.
good.
Plane ride didn't bother me. I actually enjoyed it. Porter Airlines, enjoyed it.
hmm
Landed in Toronto. Lisa met me at Union Station and she taught me how to use the subways and streetcars. We went
hmm
to dinner and I get to know her as a person. And after I got checked in, the following day I met her. Was she went to go get her pictures and stuff like that for the
Yeah.
event. Gave me an opportunity to see more of the city, hang out with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I stayed a week. I had a blast, didn't want to come home. So strangely enough, I get homesick going to Moncton or St. John, go to Toronto, which is further away, and I don't want to come home. Figure that out, you know. But
hmm
I made a
Well, it
friend.
was exciting. It was exciting for you.
Exactly. I went there and I had a blast with
hmm
Lisa. I took pictures of her with the fans, kept her table arranged. There was Vernon Wells would be sitting the next table over, and at slow times there, I would chip chat with him. Those were far and few between, but
Sure.
nonetheless. And Leslie Donaldson was there, and John
Mm.
Russo from Living Dead, Night of the Living
Yeah.
Dead, and Ashley C. Williams from Human Centipede was making her first convention appearance, I believe. And
Mhm.
it was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a choice. I could sit here and kiss ass with a film industry in New Brunswick that was going nowhere,
Mhm.
or I could go to Toronto and I've interviewed 6 people that were at Horrorama that year,
Yeah. Yeah.
including Vernon Wells and people like that.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, I got
So,
tired of waiting around for New
mhm.
Brunswick to pull its socks off up.
And what are they doing now? I have a huge question about that because they had a really good thing going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all my movies were distributed. Everyone, even
Mm-hmm.
Plaster Rock. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first person to put Plaster Rock in movie theaters in New Brunswick,
Mm-hmm.
Grand Falls, and also you talk about St. John and Moncton.
Mm-hmm.
And we had audiences, I mean, paying tickets. And it was like, that's not enough. And stars aired it here. Oh, that's not enough. And it's like, we're making movies like really low budget. I mean, we're talking about 200,000 to 800,000. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and that wasn't enough for them. And now all they want to do is short movies, and nobody really, and
Nope.
that, no, it's just not cutting it. I mean, it's a nice way to learn how to make a movie, I guess. I never made a short, so I don't know. I did a short for Adam Carolla. He asked me to finance something, and we actually got that on Showtime. So, and Adam's a great guy. But shorts to me, or anybody can really do a short. But what do you do with it? Movies. And so what is New Brunswick doing? Are they actually making films
Far
there?
as I'm concerned, they're not doing shit.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know we could swear on the
Oh,
show.
I'll swear. I
Oh,
don't
a couple
care.
more of these and I'll be joining you.
You
Yeah,
know,
well,
you
hmm,
get a few people that will make movie. GM Milani made a really good movie called All the Wrong Reasons a
oh,
few
okay.
years back. That was really good,
Yeah, yeah,
and you got people working, but it's like we went from having Joe Medjack or Tara
yeah,
Spencer Nairn from Corner Gas here to having people I could meet for free at the local coffee shop.
yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm not paying VIP for that.
No,
So
no.
I'll go to Horrorama in Toronto. I got Lisa told me to do business cards for myself.
Yes,
She taught me a lot about expanding my brand. So since then, I've done 3 Horrorramas, 1 Toronto
right.
Comic Con, and I just got back last month from Frightmare in the Falls.
Hmm.
And plus, I'm involved with 13 Fanboy, which wasn't good enough for here, I guess.
Really?
Wasn't good enough for here. And by the way, I've not been pleased with them, and I haven't gone to the film festival since.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you know,
anyway, well, let's move on to better days. Why don't you move to Toronto?
I would love to. Problem is
Yeah.
expenses.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's true. It's more expensive than, yeah, yeah. But well, I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on with Canadians. I won't go back, but I will have movies done there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I'm involved with a Canadian producer. I didn't ask permission to name him, so I won't. He's actually in Montreal, and called Hollow Earth that Netflix is interested in, and
Okay.
Chris Rock is interested in doing it.
Hmm.
Eddie Ablins, his agent, said I have to make an offer, but I think we're good enough to say he would do it if we made the offer, Chris. And then I have Rockland Boulevard, which we had Wesley Snipes, but his price has gone up to $1 million. And Grindstone, who I had the deal with, doesn't think, it's too expensive. We're trying to work that out. So I have 2 movies there, and if I get them going to shoot in Canada, I'll call you up and you go to Toronto. I won't shoot in New Brunswick again. That's a given. That's not going to happen.
You know
But
what? Don't blame you. Don't
yeah,
blame you.
yeah,
Yep.
Montreal and Toronto. And I've done films in Montreal before. I did Bolt with Richard Grieco and Sean Young and Michael Ironside. I
Sean
shot that.
Young.
Oh, 3
Whoa.
pictures I've done with her.
What
3.
what's she
Everybody,
like?
I love her. I love her. Everybody says she's a nightmare. No, she's not a nightmare. She's an opinionated woman. And if you sit and listen to her, she's not a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But everybody said she was before her time. She'd say things, to Charlie Sheen, I don't want you to put stuff on my back. Please don't do it. And he would continue doing it, and she got pissed off and she got in trouble for being him making her a pincushion, kick me on the back of her blouse and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh.
I mean, it was a different, well, to tell you the truth, it still hasn't changed much as far as I'm concerned. The Me Too movement was a self-indulgent movement for certain actresses to look great, in my opinion. Okay. It still hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, they're still screwing young actresses for parts. It hasn't changed.
Yep.
SAG stepped up to the plate. That was it. But even them kind of like tiptoeing more than stepping. And look, I was an ingenue once. I know what it's like, but you could always say no. There's a yes and there's a no. When I did Terror on the Beach, I came home to a motel room and the producer was in my bed. And he said, you got this job because I was attracted to you. Yeah, I called my manager and you know what he said? Well, just put a bag over his head and pretend it's your boyfriend. Yeah, yeah. I called up Scott Hylands. He was in the next room. And I said, Scott, I don't know what to do. I was like young 20s and I don't know what to do. And Scott said, well, sleep out by the pool. This was everybody's answer. So I slept out by the pool. Now, and I am going to mention this guy because I hope he rots in hell. Paul Lenkos was a director of that Terror on the Beach. And I showed up next day and he took all my lines away from me. He said, you may as well go home because there's no part anymore for you.
Did you punch him in the face?
Cut forward. I get hired by Les Moonves at CBS to do a TV show to play a nurse. I walk on the set. It's the same director, Paul Lenkos. I said, hi, Paul, how are you? And he said, oh, I'm okay. And so we rehearse. Every time I walk through the door, cut, never let me say my line. Tell me that that's the Me Too movement today. It still goes on. I'm sorry, Holly Weird, but I got stories that,
Well, you were in a lot of exploitation films in the 70s. I was looking at,
Yes.
Actually, you were in a
Yes.
movie that I interviewed somebody from, although I haven't seen it. Jokes My Folks Never Told.
Yes, that's
I've
right.
interviewed Sandy Johnson. I
Oh,
love her.
yes, she's wonderful. Yeah.
I love Sandy.
When we were doing these shows, we had to do them non-SAG and change our name because SAG would penalize us, and so, but everybody said, oh, they're dirty movies. Well, the movies that are being done today are far more aggressive than the ones we ever did.
It's funny you mentioned that because the year before I was born,
Yeah.
there were 3 movies that were heavily controversial. One was A Clockwork Orange, one was Straw Dogs, and one was Dirty Harry. And I find it funny, 30 years later, Freddy Got Fingered gets released to an R rating. Why
Right,
wasn't that an X?
right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
exactly. And now you look at stuff going on today, and I'm like, what's the
Yeah,
difference between PG-13 and R now?
there isn't. There isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another way for them to make money by paying them 3,800 to get a little, sign in the bottom of your screen or something at the end of the credits. Yeah, it's look, I came up during a time I'm really happy I came up with. I'm not looking forward to dying. Nobody is. But I came up in an era that was fun. We helped each other as actors. There was a place called Gio's on Sunset Boulevard, and Gio was the maitre d'. And I swear to God, this is a true story. We would go in there, Steve Sandor and Bill Martin and lots of actors. And I said, gee, I can only afford, an appetizer, which at that time was like $2. And he'd say, honey, just sign. When you get a job, you pay me. You're getting the pork roast dinner. That doesn't happen today. Actors don't stick together. They don't talk to each other. They're all jealous of each other. They pay their press agents 10 grand a month to write great stuff about them that they then believe, even though it
Yeah.
was created by their money, right? So, I mean, it's a whole different era. I mean, Clint Eastwood didn't need a press agent to get where
No.
he is.
Oh my goodness, he's in his 90s and still making movies.
One of the best directors that ever existed. He does like 4 takes, that's it. And he
Mm-hmm.
gets what he wants.
Oh yeah.
He's a fantastic, he's fast, he's on budget, he's competent. He's got more competency, excuse me, I'm going to say something really bad, than Joe Biden as the president. It should be Clint Eastwood. But anyway, it's a whole other story. But basically, Clint Eastwood is an all around, can do it all, nuts and bolts, get it done on budget, on time. And where to get him, they all think it's J.J. Abrams, who's a good director, I'm not taking anything. He's not a Clint Eastwood, you
No.
know.
Oh,
So anyway, who else should we smear? I'm only
well,
kidding.
that was just what I was saying. I still live
Yeah,
in New Brunswick, Um, but if I could afford it, I would live in Toronto. I have a
yeah,
ball every time I go there. I
yeah,
always see Lisa every time I go. She's become a friend, and
yes,
yep,
yeah.
yeah, she's
And
become a dear.
you should move. You should, when you feel more comfortable on something that's going on, you should get out. Small towns are limited.
Yep,
Limited, no matter what you do. I mean, you could give the performance of a lifetime in one of those short movies, but nobody's ever going to see it.
yep.
You know, uh, I mean, I
Well,
came from a small town, so I know. I hitchhiked to New York to start my career.
mm-hmm.
People say, "Oh, weren't you afraid of getting killed during my time?" Nobody killed anybody. I mean, they kind of looked at you like you want to have something, like you want to get together later. But there is more morality as I was growing up than we have today. I mean, yeah, it was a different era.
Yeah, and I remember when well, you said it was Hostage Game. We knew it as
Yeah,
American Sunset
correct.
with Corey.
Yeah.
I never met Corey Feldman. Or
Hank,
not Feldman, Corey
Hank.
Haim.
Yeah,
Yeah, Corey
yeah.
Feldman's in the movie. I'm involved.
And he's a wonderful actor as well,
Yeah,
Feldman. Yes.
but I never met Corey Haim.
Yeah.
But I did go the premiere here for American Sunset. I actually
Oh,
really enjoyed the movie.
right.
You had I'm trying to think of the name of the actress that was in it.
Oh my God,
Angela
Colin. Yeah,
Angela
Angela.
Collins. I met
Yes,
her
yeah.
there. Yep, I met
Yeah.
her there. I don't know what she's doing now because I haven't
She's
kept
in
in touch.
Vancouver, I think. Vancouver. Yeah, we talk all the time because she's against the vaccination.
You know what? I
Yeah,
I
I
have
know you're vaccinated.
I actually I've got no dog in the fight because I've got people in my own family that aren't vaccinated.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
guests that are not vaccinated. You know what? I look, I work as a cleaner. You
Yes.
know, I was on the I'm one of the essential workers. And when I clean, I usually do it during back shift.
Okay.
I do it at nights, and I do it when there's nobody around. I wasn't planning to get the vaccination because I'm not around enough people. My conversation outside Zoom interviews or my supervisor or boss calling me is usually with either my cat or the drive-through lady at Tim Hortons.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so the only reason I got vaccinated was so I could travel to Toronto and to do that scene because
But
I
isn't
knew.
that wrong? Isn't that wrong to make somebody do something to your body because they won't let you go somewhere? I'm sorry. See, that's what I'm not against the vaccination. I don't care who gets it or doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm against the fact of being told what to do. You know,
Well, you know something. Here's something I am going to tell you. We
yes.
were all told here in New Brunswick, don't to be gathering for Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving, of
Ugh,
course, on October.
bullshit.
Don't gather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my parents are both terminally ill. Dad's got ALS. He's had it for 7 years. Mom has Parkinson's. So we
Mm.
were told, I think it was by the mayor, no gatherings for Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure he did. I got no doubt about
You
it.
know he did.
Of
You
course,
know.
they're allowed to break the rules. Well, you know
Always.
what? I used to watch wrestling when I was young, and Randy Savage won the Intercontinental title by using a pair of brass knuckles. But people remember him having the belt. So it don't matter how he got it, he got it.
Yeah,
Well,
he got it.
I'm one of these people that will break the rules as well when I
Yeah.
feel like I'm cornered. So I asked mom, because dad with ALS cannot speak right now. I asked mom, I said, what do you want? And she said she
Yeah,
wants to have Thanksgiving dinner.
good for him.
My brother and his wife are not vaccinated, but I called my brother and I said, what do you want to do?
Mhm.
They said they want to have turkey dinner.
Good.
So we all went. There was my parents, my brother and his wife, me, and one of their caregivers.
Wow.
We all had turkey dinner. Nothing became of it.
Yeah. Why would it? Why would
Nobody,
it?
nobody got ill.
Why would it? Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what? I was in Florida in February
Uh-huh.
of 2020. Um, February 2020. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, and I hugged this girl and she was coughing and she said, I just got back from New York. I went to see my mother in the old age home and my mom was coughing and I think I caught her cough and I said, oh dear, that's a terrible thing. She calls me a week later, maybe 10 days. She says, I have something that, that's called COVID. I didn't know what COVID was. I said, okay. And she said, you should get it checked out. So I went to my doctor. He quarantined me. I never got it. I've had 2 instances like that. Okay, I've never gotten it. Now, perhaps I have an antibody from something. I think I told you when I was in England, they think I had SARS and I might have the antibodies from that. Maybe, nobody knows. But the bottom line is to this, I would never tell somebody, don't get vaccinated, but I will tell everybody, do what you want to do. This is your life, your body, right? We can say
Well,
no to sex, but we can't say no to a needle.
you did deal with that shitty director in the 70s. So I mean, Paul, whatever his name is, Yeah,
Oh, Paul Winkos, he's
yeah,
dead. He's dead. And I probably shouldn't be talking about a dead person but I will.
yeah.
Two times. he helped his, because when you're a young actress, and I was young at that time, it wouldn't affect me today. I probably, like you said, I probably would have punched him out. But basically, when you're a young ingenue and you're trying to get your career going, you don't need these insecurities in your
No,
life. You
no,
know,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
But American
yeah.
Sunset, I should touch
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. What do you
Yeah, please.
remember
Oh,
about Corey Haim?
oh, first of all, let me tell you, I wrote the picture from the directors, Mike Mansucci. He had an idea and he brought it to me. And so we worked together on it. I'm not going to steal his thunder because Mike Masucci is a wonderful writer and director of his own right. But we wrote it for a female lead. Yeah. And so I'm trying to remember her name. Oh God, maybe I should have another Bloody Mary. She was in the L Word. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, and I went to her and her agent at Gersh, I think it was, said, yeah, she'd be interested. And then they came back with an amount of money that we just couldn't afford. And so we were 5 days away from shooting. And we had two problems. Number one, we couldn't find the lead. And number two, it was snowing in the middle of April, end of April. And I was going, how are we going to match this, Anyway, in New Brunswick. So anyway, I had seen Jason Stratton had just done the movie with Corey. And he said, he's really good. He is on nothing, he can pass a physical, blah, blah, blah. So I said, let's change it to a guy. And so, excuse me, I called up his agent and they put, excuse me, they put him in the movie at an affordable rate. And he came in prepared. He did everything right. And he got bronchitis. And Mike said the director said we have to shut down. I said, no, we're going to advertise something called You've Got the Part. We're going to put it all over affordable areas that are close by because we have to be flying people in. And we audition people online. And this guy, Ernie Tremblay, was wonderful. And so we wrote a part for him. It wasn't in the original script. He auditioned online like you and I are talking, and except I wasn't there. And he got the part. He said, I've never acted before. And we worked with him. He got the best reviews in the whole movie. So we covered for Corey while he had bronchitis. And we had Frank, the other co-lead, with Ernie, do 3-4 scenes. By that time, Corey Haim got better and we never shut down, which is what I wanted. Okay. So what do I remember about Corey? Team player. A star could have said, somebody else isn't taking my lines away. A team player. Somebody else could have said, I want to go back to Hollywood until I get better, shut down. Team player. And that's what you look for in camaraderie, as far as I'm concerned. Like I was mentioning Stu Siegel. You go to Stu and ask him, he's going to try to help you. If he can't help you, he's up front. He'll tell you, I cannot help you. But you want that honesty. Corey had that honesty. People said to me, oh, he had to be on drugs. No, he was not on drugs. And now we find out he had an enlarged heart, possibly because of his drug abuse in the past, but not currently. And we all know anything we do in our background is going to come back to haunt us physically, verbally, whatever. But Corey was not a drug addict the entire time he was on the shoot. He knew his lines. He showed up on time, except for when he had bronchitis. And even when we went to Las Vegas to open the movie on red carpet, I said, Corey, I can't afford to put you in a suite. You're gonna have to have the same room as everybody else. Angela came in, Bernie Robichaud came in from Trailer Park Boys, and he said, I don't care. I don't care. And he was a team player. That's what I remember about Corey Haim.
Hmm. I had interviewed Sean Clark back in January, and
Okay.
Sean represented Corey for conventions and stuff, and he said that he will not to this day delete the text messages he and Corey had back and forth, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, he said that was one of his biggest losses when Corey Haim had passed away, because he said Corey was to his house and everything, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a tragedy. It was a tragedy. I mean, I don't know if you know the story, but we had shot for Entertainment Tonight
Hmm.
at Oakwood. It was called Oakwood. It's now changed hands in the Hollywood Hills where he lived. It was at that time it was like 3 to 4 thousand a month, furnished and all that. Anyway, we shot their Entertainment Tonight, and they asked him some really, I thought, out of line
Of
questions,
course they did. Of
but
course they
he
did.
answered them. He answered them well. And then he said, I don't feel that good. And he went back to, his room, his apartment with his mom, of course. She was always with him. And then 2 nights later, because I flew to Florida, I was in Florida when he died. And he's told his mom, he got up in the middle of the night. And I get this from the mother. Okay. So he gets up in the middle of the night. He said, Mom, my chest feels horrible. She calls the doctor. He comes over in the morning and he
Hmm.
says, Oh, it's just, I'll give him an antihistamine or whatever. And by that night, he said, Mom, I'm really sick. And as he reached out for his mother, he died in her arms. And she turned, yeah. I mean, what mother in her right mind would ever forget that? And because of the enlarged heart and because of the lungs filling up with fluid, and it could be because of his past drug usage, we don't know that to be fact. We don't know that. But they said it was drug usage. It
Of course
wasn't
they
drug
did.
use because horrible stuff sells, sensational stuff sells. If I go out screw Donald Trump tonight, I'll be on the headline of every whatever, or Tom Cruise or whatever. I mean, only that stuff sells. Sensationalism, and then we're what they call a culture crisis. No, we have an image crisis.
Yep.
We have an image of good versus evil. We have kids who are not pulling their weight because they think they're going to be like in a war and die soon. And one of them is my grandson. He says, because me Grandma Jackie, I don't I don't really want to do that because I'm going to die anyway. I mean, they have such a dark image of life because of all this social craziness. It's pathetic, I think, really pathetic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I remember American Sunset. I remember enjoying it, and that played
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time I was at the film festival here, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been years. I've swapped that out for the conventions, and I seem to enjoy those better.
And you should. And you should. They're
Yep.
more beneficial. You get to meet more people. When do you get to meet like X-Men stars? You can't meet them anywhere unless you go to one of those events. And then they come forward like, I don't need my bodyguard. I don't care. I'm Thor. That's how I met Chris Hemsworth, was right at the what is it called? I don't even the something con.
Hmm.
And I met Chris at the con, this con film, whatever it is. Everybody dresses up.
You know who I'd like to meet? And I've had
Yeah.
a big crush on her since her first movie in 2007. That's Emma Stone. I love Emma
Oh,
Stone.
join my boyfriend. You in line right after him.
Oh my, I
You in line
love.
after him. Every time we go on an interview to with an investor, he goes, just think of Emma Stone saying this line.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah.
I,
Everyone, well, yeah, because she's so down to earth,
yeah,
and I mean she is down to earth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I like her, but no, going back though, you were in a lot of the I don't know how deep you want to go into this because you were in a lot of exploitation movies.
I
Talk
was, yeah.
about talk about that time because I was born in 1972, so I my
Ooh.
memories of the 70s are very, very vivid.
Ooh.
I
You
have a
couldn't
few
have it.
memories. I have a few
Yeah.
memories in the 70s, but my memories are very vivid.
Hmm.
But you get a lot
Yeah,
of
I will.
those
Yeah.
kind of movies in the 70s. Like when the year I was born, I joke. I joke. I said we had Fritz the Cat, we had Pink Flamingos, we had Behind the Green Door, we had Deep Throat, we had
Oh,
Last
yeah.
Tango in Paris. I was like, what was going on when I was born?
It was a culture that was beginning to change.
Uh-huh.
We were going from the prudish over to, and part of this was to do with the marijuana beginning. Let me
Mm-hmm.
back up a second. I went to drama school. Uh, God, what year was that? 1970, I guess. I had hitchhiked to New York. I had no money. I came from a very poor background. Honest to God, I used to wear shoes that had cardboard in them. I fell through the ice one day, and I wasn't scared about dying. I was scared about my mother beating me up for getting the coat wet. I mean, that's how I grew up. So I hitchhiked to New York and I auditioned at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I got in on a scholarship because I had no money. And so during that period of time of living in New York, I went out with a lot of the American Academy rich people. A lot of these people had a lot of dough, and they were already smoking weed in 1970. I had never even heard of weed, and I tried it, and I saw this green carpet like growing. I mean, probably because my system was so pure. And I kept saying to this, and I won't name him because he's a big star today. We're very good friends. I said, "Dude, I think I'm dying. I'm seeing the rug is growing." And anyway, so let's cut from that to the exploitive. I went out to LA to do Dan August with
Mm-hmm.
God bless him, another one, Burt Reynolds,
Oh,
you
love
know.
Bert.
And I had a reoccurring semi role playing Kaz Garris's girlfriend. And I didn't want to leave New York. I loved New York, but William Morris, my agent at that time, said you got to go. So anyway, I went and I didn't like LA at all. I always felt LA was evil. I still feel LA is evil, but anyway, I got work, and so but what happened is that my career moved very quickly. Um, when I done the Cross and the Switchblade, I got rave reviews for playing a drug addict, and people didn't have roles for that kind of a woman. So I got thrown into a market where the woman who had guts and was the aggressor, and that was the exploitive market.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in many, and I could go through each movie if we had time, but I always took control of my characters. So I was at that time thrown into a market, and people would say to me, well, you didn't have to take off your clothes. I didn't care about taking off my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. I thought anybody wants to look at my body, I'm fine with that. I had no insecurities of that. Um, So I worked like endlessly. I worked, I'm not kidding you. I was doing like 7 movies a year. I had Meyer, Michigan was one of the best agents in the industry. Richard Dreyfuss and I had him, and Richard and I are still good friends. And I mean, I worked, and I said, "Well, you'd have to take off your clothes and start that." I don't care how much you're paying me. I want to act.
Hmm.
I wanted to develop my craft. I want to sit there and say, "Oh, well, I gotta walk into a room and say, 'How are you?' and be SAG." That didn't interest me. I wanted to develop my craft. And the only way to do that was accepting as many roles as I could, and I did. Let's cut forward. What that did for me, not a big deal. I'm not a famous actress. But in 19, I don't know whatever it was. I walked into Billy Freakin and the director of To Live and Die in LA. And
Yep.
I said to him, "You're not going to hire me. You're going to hire a name actress. So let's just cut to the chase. Okay." I mean, Billy is an upfront director. I'm sure you've
Yep.
heard stories about him. And I said, "You're not going to hire me." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to be the best actress you audition. I'll stay here all day and audition with you. But if I am the best, you fucking hire me." And he said, "Okay." And he did. He hired me for To Live and Die. And that's how I got that role. And everybody asked me, "How'd you go from exploitation to one of the best directors in the industry?"
Oh
My,
yeah, the French Connection, The
oh,
Exorcist,
one of the
Cruising.
only directors who hires unknowns and makes them into stars. Gene Hackman said on The French Connection, "This guy just ruined my career. He won the Academy Award." I mean, he's done, freaking has made stars out of people endlessly. He's one of the best instinct directors. Now, the only person I know who hates him is Willem Dafoe, and Willem and I are still good friends to this day. But Willem, because he's Buck Willem in a room on Hollywood Boulevard where the neon light kept going on and off, on and off, on. And Willem said, "I thought I was losing my mind." But that's what Billy wanted, that reaction of that craziness. Billy's a great director. Having said that, I've offered him 2 roles to direct, 2 movies to direct, and he's turned me down both times. So,
I love listening to William Friedkin do commentary in movies, like the
oh,
commentary track. I've got
hell,
I've got The
hell.
Exorcist here, Linda Blair, speaking of somebody made this
Yes,
star.
yes,
Listen to him with the French Connection. I've interviewed
yes,
Randy Jerzen from the
yes,
French
Randy
Connection.
Ferguson. Yeah.
I've inter
Is he still around?
Yeah,
Because,
his son reached out to me about
oh
the
my
interview I
God, I'd
did.
love to talk to Randy. Can you get in touch with him?
I can
I mean, I'm
try.
not going to put you on the line, okay? But Randy was part of the French Connection crew. You know that, with
Yep.
Sonny Grasso and Eddie Egan.
Yep.
And Randy was probably what you would call the gentleman of the group. Eddie was like really aggressive. Sonny was like, "Oh, get in the water. If your balls float, we're not going to arrest you." And of course, the balls, always float. I mean, because they float. And then Randy was like, "Okay, let's like just try to question them." I would love to. I mean, I'm not going to put you on the line here. I'm just saying, if
I
you
can
send
put
Mr. Randy, or put me in touch, Randy. I mean, I was just in Little Italy in New York like less than a year ago. And I was asking, Sonny passed, Eddie had passed a few years ago. And then I asked about Randy, but they didn't seem to know about him. So I don't know what he's
I
doing.
had him on in 2020. I feel so guilty because his son
Why?
reached out and asked if the interview with him was ready. You see, my brother takes care of my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. This
Yeah.
year I'm on Zoom.
Good.
because, well, when the station went into lockdown, I had no way to do my show. And one of my guests had said, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom. I got hooked up to Zoom and I've done your number 132 this year. I broke my past record. I
Mhm.
can put these to YouTube pretty much right away, which is
Mhm.
great.
Yes,
Uh,
it is.
Problem is, Randy Jergerson's interview was one of the 30 I did in 2020. And where my brother's looking after my folks, he hasn't gotten the chance to get that ready for YouTube. And I'm like, it's like, I need this, I need this, I need this, but you don't want to pressure, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because it's your brother and he's doing the best he can. You have
Yep.
parents that are ill and so forth. Yeah, I get it.
So I told
Yeah.
Randy's son that he seemed to understand, but it's like, Randy's not getting any younger, and I want him to be able to hear this, because he was involved in cruising
Yes,
and
he was. Yeah.
yeah, and he told a great story, but I I don't want anybody to think, gee, Greg's unprofessional or unreliable because
Mm.
I want to be able to get my interviews to these people. I'm able to do that with Zoom, which is
Yeah.
why I love this, because I could do this and
Yeah.
then I could just stick the flash drive in down at the station and play the interview. But it's been very hard getting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
How old is Randy? Is he like 78 or something? Or
oh,
do you recall?
let me see.
I mean, I have to you have to understand, I'm going back to 1970, 71,
Oh yes.
72.
Yep.
I knew Sonny really well. Sonny and I were like this, okay? Eddie Egan, I didn't know so much. I met him like once or twice, and he was very gruff. But Sonny had a wonderful comedic side to him. And then because of Sonny, I met Randy. And
Randy's 87.
is he that old?
Yeah.
Ooh, God, it's hard for me to think of how old I am, so I get it.
You're 39.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I really am.
You're 39. Take it from me. You're
Ah,
39.
I'm telling you right now, yeah, boy, it goes by too fast, Greg. I would love to have your non-wrinkles and gorgeous New Brunswick skin and your age. I mean, I just want to take too much from you.
Me?
Yeah, you look
I thought you
gorgeous.
looked like Jessica Holt.
Well, you should look like Jessica Cole. I want to look like you. I can always put a wig on. It's not important to me.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jessica for years. I thought she was beautiful. I knew
She
her,
is
but
beautiful. She
yeah.
probably still is. I don't know. I don't know what happened to half of those people because
I
they're
still
not.
I've got Jason Nicholson on Facebook. I
Oh,
always
you
liked
do?
him. I
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them too. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked him. I lost touch with Angela Collins, but
Oh, I can get you to her. That's easy. If
yeah,
you want to interview her, I'll just, I'll tell her to reach out to you.
sure. But
I mean, she's a wonderful actress. I was one of the people that fought for her. She'll tell you that. I'm not making this up.
mhm.
The director was saying, well, I don't know. Corey wants somebody else. And I said, it's not Corey's show. We have to stop. Look, I'm a very upfront woman. I mean,
Mhm.
if you haven't figured that out from this interview, then, and I've always been upfront, and I'm not going to stop at my age. But I said, we need a woman who's beautiful, who could really pull this off. And people were balking, saying, a beautiful woman wouldn't do this. I'm going, what am I, chopped liver? Okay, maybe I'm not as beautiful as Angela Collins, but this is something I would do. Because at the end of the movie, as you know, she masterminds the whole thing. I'm going, dude, wake up. This is what women do. This is how they rope people like rich men into marrying them. This is what women do. We're connivers. We are. I'm sorry. I mean, it's my race. I mean, Rose McGowan will be saying, smack you, Jackie. Yeah, smack me, Rose. How many guys have you screwed to get where you are? Regardless you want to do it or not. It's a fact. It's part of our culture. It hasn't changed. Cavemen were screwing 3, 4, 5 women at the same time, and they let them do it because they were the masters. How many years do we get away from that? You know, well, this is my year. No one's screwing me over a job. I tell it like it is, today and always. Of course, I'm older.
Yeah.
Mm.
How many movies have you done with Stu Siegel?
Oh, I think probably 4. That's off the top of my head. You
Yeah.
know,
I've talked to him on email. I got to reach out to him again, get him on. I know he was very
send
busy.
him this email. He will send him this video. He'll do it because he's going to be so enamored and laughing with what we're talking about. And by the way, he doesn't drink. Yes, he used to. So, and I do. And again, I mean, honestly, I'm not making this up. I don't have any reason to make this up. I haven't seen the guy in how many years, but he was the only guy out of 7 movies to call me to understand how my health was. I mean, he felt something about my health when I was dying in Lay Clinic in Boston, Massachusetts, from Los Angeles, California. He was the only one who reached out to me, and he supported me whenever he could. He didn't give me jobs. I had to earn them, but he brought me in to earn them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew Sonny Grasso from the French Connection for probably, I don't know, 6 years. I met him on Beretta because I wrote a Beretta show and they thought I was a guy by the name of Jackie Giroux. And they brought me into Universal thinking I was a guy and I was a girl. And I know Robert Blake. I know, and Sunday goes, oh, a girl can't write like this. And I go, why not? And I took him out for dinner. Sonny didn't drink, so I drank him under the table and we drove home and I took him in my little Corvette on this, he's going, oh, and I'm going, you're a big time, detective. Sit back and watch me drive. And the bottom line I'm trying to get at is Stu understood me more than most. One day I walked into Stu's office and I said to him, I'm making $50 a day. I really need a raise. I'm coming from LA all the way to Simi Valley. And he's going, I'll cut your pages back. I go, no. I mean, that's how smart he was. I said, I'm an actress. I don't want less pages. Anyway, my paycheck arrives, right? And he gave me $100 bonus. That's the kind of guy. He challenges you, but he loves you and massages you at the same time. So if you want Stu, you have to tell him people love you. You have to come on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to love me back because I'm sure he'll tell you about my shit audition on one of his shows. But basically, he was there when very few others were, to give actors like me a chance to flourish and, show our craft. There wasn't a whole lot of people doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly enjoyed this, and you, of course, worked with John F. Goff and other projects as well, because I
Love him.
noticed his name. Yeah. How often do you show up in drag? I'm not gonna let that go with
Never.
him. I'm not gonna let that go. I'm just. Oh, I get. He and I laughed over that. Him in the car
Yeah.
undercover, and he was a drag.
Well, if there's a way to work it into one of my movies, maybe I should bring him back.
I enjoyed chatting with him, and of course, Buck Flowers was in this as well, and his
Oh
daughter.
God, he's passed, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. I like the fact reading up on this, that was his daughter that was in the scene with him. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, then that warehouse scene, I guess that was his daughter.
I did not know that.
How cool is that, huh? And
Buck was a great guy. He was another great guy. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. I got a drink before I'm gonna start crying. These are people that were wonderful people, not just great actors.
mm-hmm.
Not just great actors, Greg.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful people. Wonderful people. And we don't have enough of that today. I mean, we might have like, who comes to mind is McConaughey, who I
Yep.
feel might really, because of his mom, have a good core to what's right and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Matt McConaughey, okay? And maybe, just maybe, and I'm not convinced if this is bull or not, Jared Leto, maybe because his mom was a prostitute in Louisiana, and he feels an affiliation of people that have to struggle to feed their children, which he and his brother, and they're both gorgeous looking. Like, geez, I mean, his mother must have screwed somebody really good looking, but they are great. Maybe Jared Leto. And then I'm looking at the rest of them, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't see a whole lot of celebrities doing a whole lot of things for people in need. I just don't see it. And McConaughey is a different animal. Maybe Jared Leto might be a different animal. Who else do we have? I
You
mean,
know, it's
I
funny. It's
yeah,
funny you mentioned that because
yeah.
I I'm an advocate for like, to help for people dealing with depression and
Oh
suicide,
yeah, yeah.
And when the ice bucket challenge was a big thing,
I remember.
yeah, there was another one that followed up after we lost Robin Williams, and it was called the Doubtfire Face Challenge for Suicide and Depression Awareness. And it involved you take a pie in the face and you nominate 3 people. And I've had some of the people I've interviewed involved with this. Lisa Langwa did one. Nancy McLaughlin, Sandy Johnson did one.
Mm,
Yeah, Sandy's husband was dressed up as Michael Myers from Halloween. Put the
that's
pie in her
good.
face. Sandy's
Yeah.
awesome. But most recently, where I'm a co-producer on 13 Fanboy, I threw it out to people on that movie because this is what people want to see. They want to see people in the industry.
Right. Yeah.
Judy Aronson, who was involved with weird science and stuff like that,
Mhm.
she's in 13 Fanboy, and I sent a cameo to her because she's on Cameo, and I figured she could get cameo money, and I could do throw the challenge at her. She
Mhm.
sent a video back, and she was all for doing the challenge. She said she was so jealous that Ron Sloan got nominated, but she didn't realize she got nominated. So due to COVID, she couldn't do it then. But she said she promises she will do it as soon as COVID clears. Well, just before Thanksgiving this year, the
Mhm.
cameo rates were on sale. So I reached out to a few people, and she was one of them. I thought, well, I'll send her another cameo, throw a little reminder. She did a complete 160 and decided this is not for her. And and she doesn't feel
Oh,
comfortable doing. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know how much money I spent to be a co-producer on
yeah.
13 Fanboy? I took that as a slap in the face. But here's the bad news. If she's ever at a con that I'm at,
Mm,
I'm not going to do anything illegal,
no,
but I'm
no.
certainly not going to go out of my way not to make her uncomfortable.
Yeah, as you should,
Yep,
because people have to be accountable for their actions.
yep.
But a 13th Fan Boy, did
Hmm.
you write it
Nope.
or who wrote it?
Debbie Sue Voorhees and uh, she co-wrote it with somebody. I think it was John Paul Rising.
And so did they sign a contract of any extent with you?
No,
No.
no, I just contributed to the Indiegogo. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Greg. Well, that's very trusting and nice of you. But in the future, you need to have some kind of a performance agreement.
Well, it
If you
was on
don't,
Indiegogo when it's funded, when it's crowdfunded, it's a different story. But I
yeah,
figured, where I had helped them, that
yeah,
doing a Doubtfire Face challenge, I mean, there's no money coming to me.
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, Judy Aronson will never get I'll never give her money at a con,
No,
you know?
nor should you. I'm in total agreement. And look, I'm a straight arrow. Okay. I've
Hmm.
done, well, I don't know how many, over 20 films right now, producing and writing some of them.
Hmm.
I've never been sued. I came close once. Somebody said to me, "You're using my music in your movie." And I said, "Yeah, that's because I own it from another movie." And then we met for lunch and we with his lawyer and we reviewed the contracts. And then I said, "But here's what I will do. I will from this point on give you a percentage because you feel like," but he never made another dime after that. So what goes around comes around. And so what I want you to do, and I'm not a lawyer, but
Hmm.
I am a paralegal, reach out to me because very often I can see daylight and things that other people don't. And that's what I try to do. The basis of my career is not, I mean, I'm a mature woman.
So is John F. Goff.
But I like to help people. I mean, I'm not looking. I mean, I'm debt free. I own two places. You know, I mean, do I love the industry? Totally. Do I love, I probably love, trying to make things work more than anything else. I mean, I'm not into directing. I don't even care if I produce. My latest movie screenplay, I did two polishes on. I didn't even take a writer credit because I just, this is what I do. I love it. It's in my bones. It's what I do. But I think in the future, you need to have a little more protection in the event something happens. Uh, you know, and you can always reach out to me because I'm happy to do it for free. I don't charge anybody money. I mean, I take care of my grandson, my daughter, uh, anyone, my next door neighbor. I mean, he lost his job. I've been supporting him for a year. I just like helping people. I mean, because eventually I'm going to croak. And if there is a heaven, maybe I'll go. And if not, I got to make a better arrangement with the devil. I have to
Oh,
look a little
there's a
better.
heaven.
Maybe some Botox or something. No, I mean, I'm trying to make a light of this. I like to help people. I really do. I mean, at my age, because I feel if I do well, my grandson's going to do well. I believe in the law of karma, and I would do anything to protect him. Anything. I mean, not kill or anything like that, but I mean, this new generation that's coming up, it scares me to
Oh,
bits.
yes.
Yeah. And I'm not self-indulgent. I don't, I care about my grandson and his livelihood and all that. And, but I like to help people in general. It can't always be about money. It has to be about, feeling for people. You have to give back. I was given a great life after I was 17. Up to 17, my life is, I mean, I would rather be out there cheerleading and doing bookkeeping after school than go home. My life was that bad. I mean, I had an abusive father. I had a brother that was dying of a disease they couldn't find. And my going home was a complete depression for me.
Hmm.
So I did everything I could to not go home. Working as a bookkeeper after school, cheerleading, whatever. I dated like 4 guys in 1 month. I didn't do anything like sex, but I was just, anything I could do to attract people, to keep my mind off my horrible existence. Like I said, when I fell through the ice, people said, "Weren't you afraid of dying?" I said, "I never thought about dying. I kept thinking about my mother being upset for the coat being ruined by the water. I never thought about myself." So, you know, today I feel the same way. What can I do to help what's going on in any capacity? Not financially necessary, because I don't want people to say, "Well, will you pay my rent?" I don't have that kind of money, but I will help in whatever. If you have a lawsuit, I'll look at it, for free. I mean, or if there's a way to help people today, I want to take that way because that's the
Hmm.
only thing left for me in my golden years. I don't need anything else.
Hmm.
So if you have something, let me look at it. Seriously. I'm serious about that. If
Okay.
you want to go back to your fanboy people and say, maybe we have an opportunity, maybe don't mention my name. Maybe we have an opportunity to get this off the ground or whatever. Let me look at it.
That was crowdfunded though, so that's a different story.
Oh,
And
I don't know. I've never crowdfunded, so I don't know anything about that. Yeah.
but that I have nothing against. It's just the fact, there was a charity challenge and I thought, this would be a great idea. And I feel like because I could be reading this wrong, but I found with the exception of one or two people, I found most of it was the background people that answered the call. And I'm like, the people that do this challenge for suicide depression, people are going to watch the people that they're familiar with. That was why the Ice Bucket Challenge was so successful, because celebrities were doing it. But
Mhm.
it's almost like I'm not famous enough to throw it out there. And I'm like, why? If, if I'm good enough to support your project, but that's neither here or there, um, but yeah, it was crowdfunded. I'm glad to have my name on it, but it's just kind of like, you mentioned helping people, and I was like, it's a charity challenge.
Yes, it is.
Yep. And it's like, I went into your project. Why not cost less than $5 to do that for paper plate and whipped cream? It's like, go for it. But
Who built
yeah.
the crowdfunding website on the crowdfunding, whatever? Did you build it or someone
No,
else?
I have nothing to do with that. There's Indiegogo. There's
Oh, I don't know. I don't know any of those.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
they
There's
do it? They do it for you, or
I have no idea.
oh,
I went
I
on
don't know.
there. I took the co-producer perk. So I guess there's some stuff that's supposed to come to me, but I don't know what it is, and it allows me to have my name on this movie with some familiar faces, which is nice. But I don't know. I tried to do something nice because depression is never taken seriously.
No, it's not.
No. So and obviously I wasn't taken seriously, but
Yeah, but there could be a number of reasons why, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but I talk about depression all the time because I have people around me who are like, thank God it's not me, but I know people who suffer tremendously from depression
mhm.
who are close to me, and it's not a laughing matter. And
Nope.
and anyway, but any way I can help you with this, that project or another, I'm happy to try it. I'm not always successful at everything I do, but I give a pretty good challenge to those that most people can't reach, you know.
Well, the Doubtfire Face challenge, I mean, if you're up for it,
Oh,
it
I'm not doing a Facebook thing. Oh, no, no,
No,
that
no, no,
pouring
it's
in the
not.
water over you and crap like that. No, that is not what I do. That is not what I do.
I bet
I
that
don't
I
do
bet
any
that I, I
embarrassing.
I bet that's John F. Goff.
Is it? You
I
think
bet
so? 561?
I don't know.
Hello? Who's calling? No, it's not him. I'm sorry, she's not here. Thank you. No, it's not John.
You want me
Somebody
to
in
tell you what?
Tennessee.
It's
Yeah.
funny because when I interviewed Michael St. Michael's, he had like 4 phone calls during the interview, and
Oh
it
no,
was so funny watching him react.
oh, that's great. Well, I mean, look, I try to block as many numbers as I can, except if it's a new number, I'll take it because it could be a new person. You can always say not interested, goodbye. So that's
So
why.
that wasn't John F. Goff wanted
No,
to
because she was asking me, what's tenafly? What's that? I'm
you
calling from tenafly.
I just had this image of him saying I could get the drag outfit out and we can have a ladies' night.
Well, tell them to call me up and do it real soon because I'm losing patience. I'm having my second vodka.
Well, you
Oh
know
my
what?
God, it's only, what time is it? Who cares?
Jupiter's almost 2:30 here, so it
That's good. I'll go on your time. This is
yeah.
why, I don't drink hard liquor because you don't taste it and then all of a sudden you're like on the floor or something. Blood!
You
Drive-in
had
massacre blood.
there are a
Poor
couple
Sal.
other
Hey,
people that I wanted to ask you about too. Robert
yeah.
E. Pearson and Douglas Gubai, who played Jeremy, of course. You got any stories about them?
All right, go back to the first one. Who's Pierce?
Wasn't
Pearson?
he the drive-in owner?
Oh, I don't remember him. I'm
Okay.
sorry. No, I don't remember him. And who is the second person?
The guy who played Jeremy, who got you find him at the end of the movie.
I told you 45 years ago. I don't remember him either. And what
Oh,
did you want to ask? Like,
I was going to
like,
ask what
did
their
I date
stories
him
were.
or anything? I don't
No.
know. But I don't know.
Okay. Okay. No problem. No problem.
I mean, I told you, I honestly, I never saw the entire movie. I'm
Uh-huh.
not sure why. I could have been out of the country. Like I told you, I did Sweet Sugar out of the country. I've done like 5 movies out of the country. I mean, so I never saw the movie, or Stu never aired it, or Stu didn't invite me, which is not probably likely, but I could have been elsewhere. When I did Sweet Sugar in Costa Rica,
Uh-huh.
I went to Brazil with a Brazilian soccer player
Yeah.
and stayed there for a year. So who knows? I mean, I was an adventurous person then, and who knows? But no, I don't remember any of those gentlemen you mentioned, unless you can tell me a story that gets the cobwebs out.
Okay. I'll mention this. You're listed
Okay.
as uncredited for Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS.
Yes, I was in that movie.
What do you have any story? We lost the lead not too long ago.
Really? The Diane Thorne?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. She's gone.
She died
Yep.
of the natural causes, or?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I played a Jewish girl. I don't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have to remember, when I talk to you, I'm going to talk to you from the character that I observed, not necessarily what you observed as a viewer,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I felt I was a Jewish girl who was trying to save a soldier and try to tell him, and his name was Greg something. Ah, and from people being vaccinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, what was I gonna say? And I'm trying, what the hell was it? He was blonde. He was a soldier, I think. Greg. He had one blue eye and one green eye. That's all I remember. But anyway, I was fighting that resistance, let's say. Is that what you want to hear? What do you
Nope.
else you want
Nope.
to hear?
That's fine.
Okay.
And of
That
course,
was David Fredericks was the producer, right? David Fredericks or Fredrickson? I don't know.
and then there's jokes my folks never told me. Do you have any memories of Sandy Johnson?
I have to be honest with you, I don't. I know there were two brothers that wrote it and directed it, but honest to
Raven de
God,
la Croix was in that as well. Okay. All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
Sam, I'm sorry. It's so long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about working with William Friedkin for Live and Die in LA. What was he like as a director?
Very opinionated. I mean, you do not go up against William Friedkin. When he came up to me, but he's specific. He doesn't deal in general terms. It's always specific. So let me give you my character,
Mm-hmm.
Claudia Leith. Okay, Claudia Leith. He said to me in this one scene, honey, when you come out, I don't care what he does, you fight with him and you don't stop. And he's gonna churn. That was Chituro. He's gonna churn and you're gonna turn him back. You don't stop. Your goal is to stop him.
Okay.
But what I like about that is it's not a general terminology, it's a specific. And I've tried to teach myself over the years from Billy Friedkin because I still feel he's the best director I ever worked with. Defoe didn't like him, and I understand why Defoe didn't like him. But I also understand that Friedkin didn't want Defoe to ever like go out drinking with all of us and then come back handicapped. He wanted to keep his fingertips and everything. So to cut to the chase, Billy Friedkin, and I'll say this, is probably the best director for discovering new talent and knowing how to manipulate them into the right role.
Okay. I remember after the 1970s, you got into doing some other film like Trick or Treats. You remember much of doing that film?
Yeah, all of it. Gary wrote the script. I refined the script, which I often do even today, and do not take writer credit for it because I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And Lone Star, oh God, I can't remember. There were three guys that owned Lone Star, and one of them said to Gary, and this is fact, if you get Jackie to take off her clothes, I'll finance the movie at 100K, 100,000. And Gary came to me and he said, do you want to take off your clothes? And I said, yeah, let's put I'll get nude behind a shower curtain where you see I'm nude, but you can't see my body. So we signed the contract and we got 100,000 from Lone Star and we did the movie. And I didn't take a writer credit on that either, but we got the movie done.
Okay. And let me see, there was another one I was going to ask you about too.
Oh, take your time. I've got a little more vodka left.
Oh, do you?
Kidding. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, then let me track back then, shall we? You were, of course, producer on, or not producer, what is it? Director. You directed Plaster Rock, right?
I did. Yes.
How do you feel about directing?
I love directing.
Mm-hmm.
I've directed a couple of movies. The problem is always I get the director by no one else wanting to work for that little money. In other words, I've raised the money and they go, you have to make it for this money. And then I go to directors and they go, no, I can't make it work for that money. And I don't want to turn back the money, so I direct it. And I've done a couple of shows that way, actually 3 that I remember. And I love directing. I mean, I love it because like I'm talking to you, that's how I talk to actors. Second, I always have rehearsals. Recently, I just participated. I'm not taking writer credit because I'm not thrilled. Well, I shouldn't say that. The screenplay is not where I'd like it to be. And so I put up the cost, $400 to rent a room and have, favors, beer, wine, soda, pizza, whatever, and brought in 50 actors so that the real director could see what was wrong with the script. Because if you don't hear actors saying this, beforehand, then on the set, you're going to say, I don't know, that doesn't sound right. You're going to spend a lot of time. So we read through the entire script. We recorded it, of course, because that's what you need to do. And I felt, even after doing that, maybe the director doesn't get it. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I deal with a lot of distributors, the script at this point is not going to get made. It's not going to get made. And I have a meeting tomorrow, let's say Sunday, with Louisiana Cristelli And I already know it's not going to pass the muster. And you have to be able, as a director, to see every scene played out and how they go from A, B, C, D. You know, it doesn't mean you can't add something while you're shooting it, but you have to stay on, some people call it storyboard. I think that's bullshit.
Hmm.
You just see it, you see it laid out. And you can always add if you have extra time
Hmm.
and no other money, you'd add to it. But the bottom line to directing is having that vision of the entire story laid out before your eyes and understanding every character's motivation, every scene, why it's done there rather than there. And and then you'll be successful at what you do, I think.
Okay. So what is it like going from the exploitations of the 70s and moving a little more into the mainstream? Could you talk about that process?
Yeah, I will. I think the exploitive era gave me the foundation to not be afraid of anything that was thrown at me.
Hmm.
Because in the exploitive, you don't have rehearsal time. You don't have people telling you, well, we can rehearse this again tomorrow, like they do today.
Hmm.
And so it teaches you to be prepared on the second of a dime. You know, you read your sides, you go in, you get cast, you do your movie, and then you come out. And in today's market, you get the sides ahead of time. That's something we never did before. And you get to study it. So it just makes you more prepared
Hmm.
at total characterization. If we're talking about acting, and probably also directing or any other method. Yeah.
So something like Trick or Treat, you'd say that that was a fun film to make?
Oh, loved it. Loved it. Gary Graver was one of the best. Oh my God. Talk about being taken too early. He definitely was. I was in Mexico when I got the call.
Hmm.
I can't tell you enough about Gary. I mean, God, what an incredible talent. This man could light up a room. Okay, let me tell you a story about Gary Graver, if I could.
Uh-huh.
He was best friends with Ron Howard when Ron Howard started out as a producer and
Uh-huh.
director. And there was a movie of the week. It was called Tut and Tuttle. It's been retitled. I don't know the retitle. Um, and it was being shot in the mountains of Los Angeles. And they didn't get the lights. This is Ron Howard before he was a star. Keep that in
Uh-huh.
mind. And I could tell you more stories about that, but I don't want to go into the dark thing because I want to focus on Gary. Um, and I mean, Ron said we can't do the scene. We don't have any lights. They didn't show up, and Gary said, "We'll send PAs to get candles." And he got like maybe 1,000 candles.
Okay.
And Gary lit every area by candlelight, and we shot the scene. Can you say anything more than a man like that? Committed to his passion as a DOP. But let me go a step further, and I'm not ashamed to say this. Ron Howard. When Ron graduated into the big time, Ron did go back to Gary and say, if you become union, I'll continue to use you. And Gary said, I don't want to be union. I want to help the little guy make their film. What more can you say
Mm-hmm.
about a man like that? He cared about the underdog.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's some other people I want to ask you about too. You did Walking the Line.
Oh,
You,
that was Forrest.
Robert Forster, we lost him not too long ago, and that had
Yeah.
Joe Spinell was in that as well. Speaking of a name in the past,
Did he die, Joe?
oh yeah, Joe died. I think it was 89 or 90.
I didn't know that. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow. I better have another drink. Getting closer to the, they're probably standing behind me right now. I don't know.
Well, Joe Spinell, I think it was an accident when he had passed. He had an accident in his apartment.
Oh, like
Yeah.
what kind of accident? Like he fell?
Um, let me
I didn't know
see.
that. Oh, come on. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're bringing me to tears. My God. Oh, God.
Because
Stu doesn't drink, but Stu, here's to you and I. We're still alive. Stu. Stu does not drink. Stu Siegel. Thank you, Stu. I am drinking. I can't believe Joe Spinell died.
yeah, he died
I
on
didn't know that.
January 13th, 1989.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
yes,
89. Oh, God.
according to Wikipedia, it said Joe died in his apartment located off, well, talks about where it was. Says sometime during that morning he cut himself badly on on his glass shower stall after
Oh,
apparently slipping in the
yeah.
bathtub while showering. Soon
Ooh,
afterwards, he fell asleep in his living room couch, and instead of calling for help, um, his hemophilia, what they call that, caused him to bleed to death.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Joe. I hadn't seen him in years, and that's tragic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joe was an interesting guy to watch. I liked it, but I know him best for Maniac, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to, yeah. Well, anyway, all these guys. I knew Al Pacino as well. All these guys. We used to meet at Joe Allen's, Jimmy Woods as well.
Hmm.
I mean, we all drank together. I mean, I was young, but I was of drinking age. But all of them. I mean, I don't remember what night it was. One night at Joe Allen's was liver night. It was like $2 or something. We'd all go in there for liver and then drink shots of vodka for curing our liver with our liver, but we're killing it with the vodka. I mean, I I mean, Joe Spino was one of the good guys. I didn't know he died, but I can't keep track to everybody I knew, just like I'm sure he didn't keep track to me. You know.
Yeah. Um, what was the other one? Distortions. Of course, we mentioned earlier Steve Railsback. I did not know you were married to him, and like I said,
Yes.
I gotta show this.
Yeah.
This is It Wants Blood, directed by James Balsamo, and Steve Railsback is in that. I appear twice in this movie, just footage I
Wonderful.
shot on my phone being watched on a television by
Yeah.
Eric Roberts. This has got 4 signatures on it. Um, James Balsamo, Bill Victor, uh, Brink Stevens has signed this, and Craig Muckler have all signed this. So I got 4 signatures, and they must all be doctors because I can't understand what signatures is who. So they must be all in the medical profession, as I'm just assuming. But I know you've split from you and Steve had split, but I guess you had mentioned before we started recording that you two were still good friends.
Oh
Talk
my
about.
God. I mean, we're better now than we were when we were married. I think part of the problem when you're married to another professional
Mm-hmm.
is you become competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, well, you don't have to go there. Yeah, you do. I mean, I'm sorry. Every day you take a phone call, or at that time we didn't have emails, but we had phone calls and FedEx, and oh my God, they're going to do this movie. Am I in it? Says Steve. Well, I'd rather have Treat Williams. Oh my God, Treat and I are friends. You can't hire my friend above me. I'm married to you. It's like saying I'm not a good actor. And that's kind of what we went through
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to branch out. I used Steve in Distortions, I used him in Deadly Intent, and I wanted to get away from being his wife and at that time manager. And so I went to New York to meet with Treat Williams about a project.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve didn't like that. I mean, because it's hard to divorce your love life from your professional life. It's like saying, well, Treat's not a better actor than I. And even I'm saying, no, he's not, but I need to get away. And it doesn't matter. You're my wife. You do what I tell you to do. And that was the problem with Steve's and my relationship. No other problem than that.
Well, speaking of distortions, I mean, Olivia Hussey.
Oh, wonderful.
Loved her in
Yeah,
Black Christmas. She and Steve Railsback were both in Turkey Shoot as well.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was after Distortions.
Mm-hmm. And Piper Laurie, he had some good people in that.
Piper was absolutely amazing. She'd walk in with her car,
Uh-huh.
driver, and kind of be, hunched over. And
Uh-huh.
after 2 hours, we walk out as this almost borderline ingenue, but
Okay.
incredible actress. Incredible. If I could work with all Piper Laurie female actresses, I would. Incredible.
Do you have any memories of speaking of Gary Graver, Georgina Spelvin? Have any memories of her?
Yeah, I met Georgina. Yeah, and I worked with Gary on, and I can't remember the name of the film.
Garage Girls.
It could have been.
Yeah.
And but I'm going to tell you a memory. The only memory I really have is that I was supposed to be doing wardrobe,
Uh-huh.
and she gave me this gown she wanted to wear. And I never could iron. I won't touch an iron to this day. He said, iron this so it's, Gary said, iron this so it's perfect. And I burned the dress.
Ooh.
I wanted to kill myself. I mean, I can't even begin to tell. Well, you just had the right reaction of like,
Well, I don't iron either for similar reasons, so I probably
but
end up burning it. Yep.
you asked me about her.
Mm-hmm.
She walked over to me, gave me a hug, and said, well, slit it up the side. I don't care.
Ah, nice.
That's my memory.
Talk about summer camp. Another one with John F.
Oh my
Goff.
God, he died. The writer director, right?
Um,
You remember what his name was? Help me out.
Chuck Vincent is the director.
Yeah. Did he die?
Yeah, 1991. Yeah.
And I think he probably had AIDS, right? Do you know? Can you tell?
I don't know. I'm not seeing it on here. But I mean, you had a young Linnea Quigley in that as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I've interviewed Linnea on my birthday a few years ago, and I met her at
Oh.
Horrorama. Yeah, Linnea's a hoot.
Oh, I thought she was great. I remember her like yesterday. She's a free spirit and a lovely person, you know. And but why I bring the director up and why I think he's dead is because my recollection is I went back to New York to look for him.
Uh-huh.
And they told me he had died. And my thought was AIDS because he was gay. And I'm not sure I'm accurate about that, but I think I am. But anyway, it doesn't matter what he died of. Let me tell you about Chuck, right? He was a listener. One time we're sitting at a table, we're talking about this is true. Everything I tell you is true, only from what I remember. And we're sitting there talking about, you know, why the scene works or does not work and blah, 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 and et cetera, et cetera. And he farts. He farted. That's true. And he went, oh, excuse me. And I go like, why? And he said, because I just farted in your face. And I said, well, my face is over here and your ass is over there. And he goes, okay, I didn't fart. That was his sense of humor. And he was great because he listened. I've worked with so many directors who said it's this way or the highway, or it's this way. I can't turn that way, turn anyway. It's awkward. I can't tell you how many directors. The most important thing about a director is for the actor to communicate and say, I can or cannot do this because of this reason. And you have to work it out, or you should be able to work it out with the actor. Okay. Or change the dialogue. I can't say this line because it reminds me of my dead father. Well, and it's supposed to be a happy. Let's change the line, take the line out. That's what we have to work with as a movie company. Only that, nothing else. Continue.
Yeah. So going back, the Cross and the Switchblade, was that your first movie?
Yes.
Talk about getting your first role in that first movie. Were you nervous?
No.
Okay.
And here's why. Okay. When I came in to audition for that, I had already been given a soap opera role. Okay, that was live. At that time, soap operas were live. And Love is a Many Splendor thing was a soap opera. And I was already given that opportunity. In fact, that actress, Erica, whatever her name is, became a major star.
Eric Estrada, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when I went in for the Cross and the Switchblade, I already knew I was going to be hired for something else. Anyway, when I went in, Ross, Greg Ross, Eric Ross, whatever, the producers said to Don Johnson, oh my God, she looks so healthy. She can't play a drug addict.
Called acting.
But when Don interviewed me and auditioned me, he thought otherwise. So anyway, you know, Don, you know, kept bringing me back. And auditioning with other people, including Eric Estrada, and there were several others as well. And I said to Don, I'm just going to take the soap opera role because obviously somebody doesn't want me here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my God, I mean, and then Pat Boone took me to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, everyone wants you except Dick Ross. That was his name, Dick Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Dick thinks you're too healthy looking. And he thinks that we need an excruciated, like, drug addict female. And I said, so what do you want me to do about it? And he said, let me tell you a story. This is true. Everything I'm telling you is true. Dick Ross said, I just completed bankruptcy. And the reason I went bankrupt is because all the way at the bottom, you can bail out. And then nowhere is to go but the top. And I looked at him like, what the hell? What are you talking about? And he said, your career. You take a soap opera and start at the bottom, and hopefully you'll rise to the top. But if you take this movie, you'll be at the top. Because it was a book. It was David Wilkerson was a true character. There was a lot of heat on the book. United Artists was removing, it was going to, and then later reneged on releasing the movie. And he said, so I said, so if I take it, you're going to hire me? And he said, I can't tell you. That's up to John. But I can tell you, we're not having lunch for nothing. And I went back up there and I did one more audition and I really laid it on there and I got hired against Dick Ross's, wishes. Because I wasn't emaciated at all.
So, of course, that led to, to Sweet Sugar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in between was Dan August,
Yep.
I guess
TV
you don't
series.
see
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, I played gas caresses. That brought me out to LA. I was with William Morris. I wasn't happy about moving to LA. I didn't want to move to LA. Anyway, so we cut forward and then I'm here and I'm like not doing anything but TV. I want to do another movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Sweet Sugar is brought to my attention. And, I mean, I tell you, I was in between a period of like confusion, LA, New York, whatever. I was in a relationship with Steve Calera, who had actor with a gun. And we were talking about getting married, but I had to go back to New York to do that. We're still great friends. That's why I can. And he wrote the book, Actor with a Gun, about him and me. And Meyer, Michigan was my agent, the same one that Richard Dreyfuss had, and many others. And Meyer said, take this movie. Go out of the country, think about what you want to do. Because we went to Costa Rica to make the movie. And I was paid a lot of money. I don't remember how much, but a lot. And so I did it. I wasn't happy with the movie because when I got there, the director was a bit nuts. And I said to the director, let's talk about where this movie is gonna go. And he said, it's just about you taking off your clothes and swimming in a fucking like water fountain. And I said, are you nuts? And I said, this is what we need to make sense of this movie. And anyway, but the one good thing that came out of this movie, the father of Wallner, what the hell is it? Chris Wallner's dad produced it. And he's not my bonding. If I need a completion bond, I go to him because he understands, I understand all phases of movies. And so that was a good thing that came out of this.
Okay. And then from there you had the erotic adventures of Zorro.
Which I loved, by the way. You're laughing. Can I tell you, we should re-release and recolor that movie.
Yeah.
Because that's what the real Zorro is about. Oh, well, the guy was kind of not a great actor, as I recall, but he loved flamboyance. Or maybe it would work today with all the gay activity. He was kind of a wishy-washy Zorro. I loved that movie. We made it on the MGM set. It was the first time I'd been on a set ever. And they paid me so much money. This funny story. I went out and bought my Fiat with cash, and the guy thought I was like a bank robber or something. And they withheld the car for 3 days to make sure I didn't steal the money. And then I took the car, my Fiat convertible, and drove to Solvang, and then went back to MGM every night saying, I'm a starlet. I'm here at MGM. You know, it doesn't matter how you get there. It matters that you do get there. And in my mind, like I said, at that time, we were aggressive on the sex, what is it called? Sex lotion, sex pretend. But today they're showing a lot more than we ever did.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Sexploitation.
Sexploitation, yep.
And I sat there outside MGM, as God is my witness, in front of you. And I said, I am Hollywood. I bought my car with cash from the movie. I drove to Solvang. I came back and I was like happy. I can never take that happy back. That happy is not going to ever happen again. And so taking your clothes off for a gay Zorro, because he was pretty gay. He wasn't supposed to be, but he was. But let me tell you, that's like wonderful. And I think Stu was part of that as well. I don't think I know he didn't direct it, but I think he was one of the producers, and they would understand, because he said to me one day, you are so beautiful. Stu Siegel told me one time, maybe then or another time, you were so beautiful. And I never thought of myself as being beautiful. I never did. But he made me feel like I was beautiful. And when I did that movie, and it did really well, from my understanding, I look at today's Zorro is lacking in comparison, except for the action.
Okay. Now, what about Prison Girls?
Well, I don't have much recollection of that, I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
Was there an actor by the name of Jason Williams in that? Do you see that?
Let me click on her here. Jason Williams.
That's all I remember is a guy named Jason Williams who followed me out after shooting.
No, I'm not seeing anything.
I don't remember anything about Prison Girl. I'm sorry, I wish I could, but
how about The Mermaid?
I don't remember that one either.
Okay, all right, that's okay. The Dirty Mind of Young Sally.
Yep, don't remember.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're listed here. It says let me find that again. It says as Robin Whiting.
Well, Robin Whitting was something after I married Steve. We went up to, I was in a big hypnosis class from UCLA by the major, and I was hypnotic to several months. And I found out my past
Mm-hmm.
was Robin Whitting, ROBYN WHITTING. And when Steve was doing a movie in England, we decided to go up there. We had a ton of dough and we hired a driver, and my daughter was like 6 months old. We had a nanny, and we drove up to Scotland and we found my grave, Robin Whiting. Now, I don't want to spook you out too much because I've never written or talked about this before, but I'm here to tell you
Uh-huh.
my past, according to what I saw, is there. And so I took that name on for several movies, hoping that that spirit would come back to me, but it hasn't so far.
Okay. Well, talk about what you're working on now, because
Mm.
I'm seeing on here on IMDb you've been involved with. They got you listed for still photographer on various projects and the writer of various movies. Do you have a favorite thing you like to do? Is it acting, or do you like directing, producing, still photo like writing? Like your costume listed on here for wardrobe. Like, is there anything that stands out to you that you like doing best?
Well, I think more or less because of my age, I've resorted to writing.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody wants to hear about an older woman producing. Very few people. I'm sorry, but people do not. They say we love the old elderly, but they don't really. So I do a lot of ghost writing. And recently I did a ghost writing, yeah, Lady in the Dark, or I'm sorry, Lady in the Shadows it's now called. And we've got a few offers out. We just did a reading at in Los Angeles and various actors. I am producing a picture called Rockland Boulevard that Wesley Snipes originally agreed to do, and now he's raised his rate. And I'm not sure that's going to work out. I'm in business with Grindstone, and Grindstone will dictate the actor they want in the movie. And then I've got a third project, and the project that probably is one I want to make the most is Purgatory, that the attorney sent it over to Netflix because it's a series with Adrian Brody, Willem
Mm-hmm.
Dafoe, and perhaps Guy Pearce. So those are the things I'm working on, and I like take on new projects because I might see the light of day with them. You know, networks and distribution change daily almost. I'm not opposed to new projects.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how have you been doing during this whole COVID-19 thing? Have you, I take it you've been doing all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been checking some of my older movies
Mm-hmm.
and redoing them and putting them out there for purchase. I mean, like Plaster Rock last month, I got 10 people that want to see it. I mean, it's a lot of movie, but it keeps you in the game plan.
Mm-hmm. Is Plaster Rock available on Blu-ray or has it not been released like that?
Our company was doing it, but now we're in the process of putting it on Amazon.
Okay. Okay.
We've
Yes.
had so much success with Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, I can't even begin to tell you. I didn't think it would happen, but I did a movie. Of course, it's a stylized movie about Eileen Wuornos, the serial killer. I had her rights, and they made so many things about her. I put it on Amazon, and people are, because my story is a true story. It's from her tapes
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. And I'm having tremendous success. The true story. It's not just based on a true story. It is the true story. So I think Amazon Prime is probably one of the best areas to go when you have a movie you're ready to release to the public.
Hmm. Well, this one right
And I
here,
don't, go ahead.
I was gonna say this one here reminds me of, like I said, the old drive-in days, and
Oh,
I haven't seen a movie at the drive-in in a long since the 80s, and I don't know how many drive-ins are around anymore, but that was kind of a fun way to watch a movie, and so no, happy to celebrate that 45th anniversary. And like I said, when I saw you in this film, I was like, I know Jackie. I was actually looking at pictures before I come on here today, and from the Silverway Film Festival, I got a couple of pictures of us together.
oh, wonderful. Do you
Yeah.
have them here?
Huh?
Do you have them here?
I wonder if I'm able to bring that up here. Let me see, because I would love to if I can.
Well, I would too.
Yeah.
That'd be good, but it's not necessary. I'm just asking.
Let's see if I can do that. Let me see.
Ask you something else. May I ask you something else?
Sure.
Do you file taxes in New Brunswick?
Yes, we do.
No, you. Okay, you or your company, yeah. Hmm.
Let me see if I can do how do you do
Oh, don't ask that. I'm the worst at technology. Please do not put me through that.
let me see. Let me see. I know somebody showed me not too long ago how to share screen. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll see if I can do this. Bring this
All right,
photo
Greg,
up.
you know what? If it's a problem, who cares? Doesn't
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could bring that up, and it's
Greg,
yeah.
if you have a project you want to do in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
send it to me. My email. You have my email, right?
Yep.
I will never go back to Canada, but you can produce it. Okay. I'm not going to say any more than that because people say, oh, well, no, you're trying to tell this guy how to do his movie. No, I'm not. And I'm not interested in telefilm or any of that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I can get things distributed in the States, and that's the most you get distribution in the States, you get distribution in Canada. I mean, I can't tell people that's how I did it. I can't walk on water, but sometimes I can get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm not going back to Canada. So it's never going to be you fight me or whatever. I mean, there are Canadian actors that are great that are being ignored.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
know that. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I have US investors that want to invest based upon like my deal. I have an output with Stars and Grindstone and Lionsgate. We need to have product, but it has to be product that's good product,
Mm-hmm.
not just, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't be a stranger, please. This was an act of God. You found me and did this because this doesn't happen every day.
No, no. I was glad to have you on here today, and I'd love to have you back again next year, right around this time, maybe. I think Trick or Treat celebrates its anniversary next year. Maybe we give that a more detailed look next year. Who knows? But
But can I interrupt? Hopefully, next year, you and I are doing my newest script, Lady in the Dark, which is like Trick or Treats.
ah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. It could be shot with you. I don't have to go there. I wrote it. It's got to deal with Cinedime. And if we can make the numbers work, I'm not going to Canada because I don't have to. And I'm like drinking my Bloody Mary.
Your Bloody Mary for driving
Oh,
Massacre. Yeah, I mean, I could try. I've never been to the States before, I'll tell you that. So,
but we don't have to. You can
mhm.
produce it in Canada.
Well, that might be something you might have to crowdfund.
I don't think so.
No?
No, I can get investors that put their money into a Canadian bank who
Hmm.
I file the Canadian tax credit, and you
Oh,
just
okay.
oversee that the money's being spent with the Canadian tax credit. I am not going to Canada, but you can watch. Each invoice is Canadian.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think that's hard.
Oh, I might be able to pull that off. Sure.
Or have a bookkeeper that pulls it off.
There you go. Okay. Well, we'll stay in touch.
Stay in touch. I have so many shows. You don't even want to know. I mean, and a lot of people still send me stuff from Canada. And I keep saying I'm not going back, but maybe there's something that you could take over if it's funded, right? I mean,
Well,
seriously. I mean, like, that's what I liked about Stu. You say he was in low budget, then he went into high-end TV Hunter and all that bullshit. But Stu always remains Stu. And that's what I think I want to do. I want to remain helping people make movies. Do I want to be paid? Of course. But guess what? I don't care about making the friggin' movie anymore. I've done so many.
Well, Jackie, it was wonderful having you on here today, celebrating the 45th anniversary of Drive-In Massacre. And
Excellent.
yes, absolutely. And lovely of meeting you back in was it 2010, whenever it was you was up here for Plaster Rock, and happy to
Yeah.
go over your career today. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think I'll reach out. I'll have you back next year, and we can and do this again.
Thank you.
Yes. You have yourself a Merry Christmas, because that's coming up less than a month away.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely, absolutely. God bless you, Jackie. Thank you so much for coming on here today and allowing me the honor of chatting with you.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to, like web pages or charities or anything you want to plug before we close off?
Obviously not.
Well,
Wow.
you enjoy the Bloody Marys. Drink one on me, drink one on Stu.
I think I did already. I think I've drunk more than I should have. Anyway, going back, I love you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll let John know that we chatted.
Oh, some of the video, I'm sure you'd like to see how hot I look. One old bag to another. Thank you.
Absolutely. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.